everybody, and welcome back to Bucks Beat, episode 134 today. And the focus will be on the Falcons training camp and two of the big storylines coming out of that. Right now, the boys down at the coffee shop, they've turned the page on the Braves. All right, the Braves, tough season, all these injuries, all these underperforming players. They've totally moved on from that. And now the boys at the coffee shop are all over the Falcons, getting ready for the Falcons season. And the storylines coming out of the Falcons training camp, wanted to talk about the two big ones here today on the podcast. And those are, number one, Coach Raheem Morris's quarterback plan in the preseason, not to play Michael Penix Jr. or Kirk Cousins in these three preseason games. And then number two, another big storyline coming into the season is this plan the Falcons have to limit Bijan Robinson's touches this season. And I'm really passionate about both of these topics, and therefore that's the focus on today's podcast. Looking forward to seeing how these things shake out. First, let's talk about this quarterback issue, the plan that the Falcons have. Penix and Cousins will not play in the preseason. And remember, a year ago, Cousins coming off that Achilles injury, a little behind schedule, so, he barely got out there. And Penix, we thought we'd see more Michael Penix Jr., and that was a big surprise when he barely touched the field on the preseason too. And then we realized that this was going to be the plan for the Falcons moving forward, is to have their starter, and in this case, the backup, not playing in any of the preseason games. So what the Falcons fans are going to see is Easton Stick and Emory Jones will get all the PT in the three preseason games. And this is driving a lot of the Falcons fans and media a little bit crazy with this. Me, not so much. You're wondering why? I'm glad to tell you. These preseason games, they are absolutely meaningless, is what the preseason games are. They don't count, except for the players that are on the fringe. Now, these preseason games are meaningful for them. They're trying to make an NFL roster. And this exposure allows them to get some tape out there where some of these other teams that might be thin at their particular position might take a shot with them. But the Falcons believe there is absolutely no reason to risk injury with these top two quarterbacks in a meaningless game. The Falcons are determined to protect their investments, and their investments are huge with both Cousins financially and then also with Michael Penix being a first-round pick. Imagine if Cousins was injured and that eliminated any chance of the Falcons trading him away to a quarterback-needy team where their quarterback was injured. They needed a replacement. First person you think of right now is Kirk Cousins, right? Well, if he gets dinged up and injured in a preseason game, you can eliminate any chance the Falcons trading him. So, to me, that makes sense. That would be dumb to get Cousins out there while you're looking to trade him and get rid of some of the money. Be dumb to get him injured where nobody would be interested. This is a business decision, is all it is. The Falcons are, as they say, standing on business. I believe how the phrase goes there. So what about getting Penix ready to play in the season opening game? Oh, you're not playing Penix? Started 3 games a year ago? Young second-year player in the National Football League. What kind of sense does it make not to play him in the preseason? Get him some reps, get him ready to play, get him off to a fast start. Well, look, Penix, you need to know this, is Penix can get those game-type reps at practice. And it's because the Falcons do a lot of 11-on-11, more so than a lot of the other teams in the NFL. 11 on 11 reps during practice. And that's also where it's off limits to be teeing off on the quarterback. So it's going to be safer. Look, Penix is still getting the same game-type looks at practice in the 11 on 11. He's seeing the same tempo that he's going to see in these games without getting hit. So Penix, count on him being ready to go when the Buccaneers show up in a few weeks for the season opener. When it's go time, trust me, Penix is going to be ready in spite of not playing in the preseason games. Now, as far as showcasing Cousins goes, teams with a need at quarterback, their guy gets hurt, suddenly, boom, they need a veteran to step in. Hey, the Falcons are gladly would love to unload Cousins and get rid of him and some of that money. And look, there's no reason for him to play in these preseason games. There's so much tape on Cousins through the years. These other teams know exactly what they're getting. So you're not losing out by not letting him see the field in the preseason. So simply put, there is no good reason to play Penix or Cousins in the preseason. So if you're upset about that, man, try to get over it. I'm actually looking forward to seeing Easton Stick get some game action because, look, in a perfect world, he's going to be the Falcons' backup quarterback. So I'd love to know a little bit more about him other than him winning these championships at North Dakota State not long ago. But he's got the inside track of being the backup quarterback. Emory Jones, we're talking about a practice squad guy, a emergency third quarterback in an emergency situation. And I don't know, maybe him getting this playing time looking good might attract one of the other 31 teams in the league. All right, now on to the storyline about reducing or limiting Bijan Robinson's touches this season. I just really believe there's bad timing talking about this and making this public. Because, look, the last thing the Falcons fans that I know want to hear is about getting the season started and limiting the best player on the team. Is my team really planning on limiting their best player? I mean, how does this make sense? And apparently that's what the Falcons plan to do, is limit the number of times Bijan touches the ball this season. I just don't understand it, really, especially for a team that has suffered 7 consecutive losing seasons. 7 in a row is what us Falcons fans have suffered through. I want to see Bijan touching the ball 20-plus times a game. That's what I want to see. And the pushback is this. Well, you know, Bijan touching the ball 365 times in a season. Buck, that's just not sustainable. So the Falcons they're more concerned about the future, is that what you're telling me, than the present with Bijan? Trying to extend his career as long as possible, even though I believe an NFL running back's career typically, we're talking roughly, if you're lucky, about 5 years. They're concerned about his effectiveness in, 2030? I'm all for utilizing the backup Tyler Algier. I'm all for him getting some touches. I would love to see Algiers in there when Bijan is tired and needs a little bit of a breather. I would love to see Algier in there in short yardage, goal line, and red zone situations. A rugged runner, tough to tackle, fresh legs, all those things. But not at the expense of limiting Bijan Robinson. I want to see the ball in his hands 20-plus times a game. Last season, Zach Robinson, in his first year as the offensive coordinator, got Bijan 20-plus touches in 11 of the Falcons' 17 games. And he ended the season with Bijan getting 20-plus touches in the last 6 games of the season. And I prefer to keep that trend going. Again, nothing against Algier, but Bijan is elite. He's one of the top 3 backs in the game today. And you know what? Elite players help you win football games. And I want to win this year. Sick and tired of all the losing. 7 years in a row. It's an eternity is what it is. So don't limit your best player. Feed him the ball week to week as much as you can get the ball in his hands. Bijan is built to carry the load. We saw this last season. By the way, just like Saquon Barkley, who, by the way, touched it more than Bijan did last season. Do you hear the Eagles saying we're going to limit Saquon's touches this year? No, you don't. And didn't the Eagles win the Super Bowl last season? Yes, they did. Falcons' priority in 2025 should be to do whatever is necessary, whatever it takes to win. It's what the Falcons organization should be focused on this year. We've lost 7 consecutive losing seasons. A big part of winning is Bijan Robinson leading the way and not being limited, in my humble opinion. So I want to see the Falcons win in 2025. We'll worry about 2030 down the road. I hope that's what the Falcons' priority is winning and not just putting money in the bank. I want to see them win, and I know the Falcons fans do too. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this podcast. We'll be back later this week with conversations with one or maybe more of these Georgia Bulldog assistant coaches. Looking forward to the Bulldog season getting underway, and we'll dive into it later this week. Until then, be good, everybody.